Good morning, students. This is my ninth lecture, and if you recall, in my last lecture, we derived the steady flow energy equation and we expressed it in two forms. Same equation in two forms. One is in the form of unit mass, that means every term in the equation is an energy term per unit mass. The other form that we expressed was in a unit time format, that means every term in the equation was energy per unit time. So accordingly we were getting two equations, h1 plus v1 square by 2 plus gz1 plus q is equal to h2 plus v2 square by 2 plus gz2 plus w, and when you multiply m dot everywhere, then we are getting the time based steady flow energy equation. And I also told you that when you are going to solve a numerical problem using steady flow energy equation, you have to keep certain things in mind. Today we will be solving a numerical problem that is there on the board, and there are certain things that you need to identify from the language of the problem, and then make a list of given information like any other thermodynamic solution. You have to make a list of given information, and you will be seeing that you are given everything except one unknown, and that one unknown, if you can find out somehow means that there is the only way you have to put the known quantities in the steady flow energy equation and get the only unknown that you are supposed to find out. And I repeat that in this exercise you have to take care of the units, you have to take care of certain assumptions which you have to make and mention, and then you have to find out the unknown quantity that is there lying in the equation. So look at this problem. The problem reads like this: a blower handles 1 kg of air per second at 20 degrees centigrade and consumes a power of 15 kilowatt. So lot of quantitative information are there in this sentence. First of all, it is a blower. What is the steady flow device? It's a blower. What does a blower do? A blower is a device which allows the fluid to pass in a particular passage, in a particular way. So in order to let the fluid pass in a particular way, the blower becomes instrumental, and what it does, it creates a pressure differential due to which the fluid flows from one region to another region in a designated path, right? And in order to create the pressure differential, what happens, what is that, the blower consumes certain work, it consumes some work or power, and as a result of that consumption of that power, there is a pressure difference. That means the pressure is raised so that the fluid can flow from high pressure region to low pressure region in a designated specified passage. That's the job of blower. Blower doesn't do any work, blower consumes work, and if it is a adiabatic blower, that means the walls are adiabatic, then there is no heat transfer. And how much power it consumes here in this problem? It consumes 15 kilowatt of power, that means 15 kilojoules every second. And what is the mass flow rate? Mass flow rate 1 kg per second. And what is the temperature of air at the inlet? It is a air blower. So what is the temperature of air at the inlet? 20 degrees centigrade. What is the fluid? Fluid is air. And what else is given to you? You are given with the inlet velocities. That means if this is the blower, that the inlet velocity of air and outlet velocity of air. That means velocity at the entry and velocity at the exit. And if you correlate this to the steady flow energy equation, velocity at 1 and velocity at point 2 or location 2. So these are given. What else? What you have to find out? You have to find out the exit air temperature. The entry air temperature is given to you as 20 degrees centigrade. You have to find out the exit air temperature. That means you have to, T1 is given to you. You have to find out T2. T2 means temperature at the exit location, that means at the outlet of the blower. And what you have to assume, what is given in the problem, you have to assume adiabatic conditions. That means this is a blower. During the blowing process, heat is neither going to the system nor coming out of the system. The walls are insulated or adiabatic. So Q term is 0. So that you have to understand from the language of the problem. Now we will start solving the problem. How we will solve the problem? Now see, we'll solve it step by step, okay? And I will also tell you how to present the solution. So we will, like any other thermodynamic problem, we will make a list of given information, but before that we will give a schematic diagram of the process. And remember, I repeat, it is a schematic diagram. So a blower, you have to draw a blower, but not necessarily it will be a pictorial view of blower. It is a symbolic view of a blower. So suppose this is the blower, okay, and then air is passing through it. This is the inlet, give it a name 1 That this is the outlet, give it a name 2. So there are two locations, one is at the inlet and one is at the outlet. This is the blower, this is the blower. And what is passing through it? Air is passing through it. It is an air blower, to be precise. This is an air blower. Now, what are the things that are given to you at location 1 and at location 2? What are the things given? Mass flow rate is given. How much? 1 kg per second. And you know, in a steady flow, the mass entering and mass going out are same. So this is mass flow rate is 1 kg per second here, 1 kg per second here. Then what else is given? The power consumed. Power is m dot w or w dot, and power consumed is how much? 15 kilowatt. So it is power consumed by the blower, not power given by the blower. It is the power given to the blower. That means it will be plus or minus according to the sign convention. When work is supplied, then it will be minus. So this will be minus 15 kilowatt. This is important here. This is minus 15 kilowatt. Work is minus 15 kilowatt. What is the temperature at the entry? Temperature at the entry T1 is 20 degree centigrade. 20 degree centigrade. If it is required, we will convert it to Kelvin. If it is not required, let us keep it at 20 degree centigrade now. So 20 degree centigrade. What else is given? Velocity at point 1. Velocity at the entry is excuse me, 100 meter per second. Velocity at the entry is 100 meter per second, and velocity at the exit is 150 meter per second. Now what you have to find out, and what else is given? Which type of condition you have to assume? You have to assume an adiabatic condition. That means Q dot is 0. There is no heat transfer. Okay. And what you need to find out? You are supposed to find out what is temperature at the exit. That means what is the value of T2. T1 is given, T2 is to be found out. V1 is given, V2 is given. The heat transfer Q is 0 and work transfer W dot is minus 15 kilowatt. So this is the list of given information that are provided to you in order to solve the problem. Now we'll start solving the problem. So again, be prepared to take care of the units. At every step you have to ensure that the unit of each term is same. So we'll go to the calculation now. But before that, I will tell you one thing. What is that? If you remember, I told you du is equal to cv dt. Do you remember this? when I was telling you about the different specific heats for a gas, various specific heats for a gas, I told you that the gases do have infinite number of specific heats. Depending on at what condition you are heating a gas or cooling a gas, the specific heat will be different. Okay, if you are heating it at constant volume, then it is CV, and if you are heating at constant pressure, then it is CP. So, and CVDT is change in internal energy. Similarly, CPDT is change in enthalpy. For the time being, for this class, till we go to thermodynamic relations in the subsequent classes, please remember that du is CVDT and dH is CPDT. Later in the class, in some later class, when I will be teaching you thermodynamic relations, okay, using various equations like Maxwell's equation and all, we will mathematically see and we will establish that how du is equal to CVDT and how dH is equal to CPDT. But for the time being, just remember du is equal to CPDT, du is equal to CVDT and dH is equal to CPDT. It means U2 minus U1 is CB T2 minus T1 and H2 minus H1 is CP T2 minus T1. You have to understand the meaning of this. Alright. So now we are in a position to solve the problem. See, the solution is very simple. Solution is very simple provided you understand the problem and you identify the given information, make a list of all the given data with their proper units and sign, and then you use the appropriate steady flow energy equation, that means the time based or mass based, and then you do the arithmetic calculation and come up with a final result. So that part is only subtraction and addition, but the initial part is very important. You have to first identify which statement, which equation, the time based or the mass based, which one is to be used for this particular problem. Now look at this problem. In this problem there are certain hints. One is m dot is given, that means kg per second m dot is given, kg per second term is there, that is one. Second is that the power consumed is given in kilowatt. Kilowatt means kilojoules per second. So mass is given in kg per second, power is given in kilojoules per second. So it is but obvious that we are going to use the time based equation, not the mass based equation. And you know what is time based equation? Okay, so time based equation, if you recall to what we discussed in our last class, applying steady flow energy equation, applying is it visible to you? Applying steady flow energy equation, time based, what we can write? We can write H1 dot plus B1 square by 2 plus GZ1 plus Q is equal to H2 dot plus M dot B2 square by 2 plus GZ2 M dot GZ2 plus W dot. Now look at this equation. H1 dot capital H, because we are taking the total enthalpy, because M dot is already multiplied here. Then M dot B1 square by 2, M dot GZ1 and M dot Q, sorry, this is M dot Q Q or capital Q. Now, for this particular problem, we already know that Q dot is 0. That we have mentioned in the list of given information. But when you are solving the problem, write the full equation first. Don't delete Q dot just because its value is 0. Write the complete equation. Even if some of them might be 0, but you do not take care of that in the first step. You write the full equation and then you write, for this particular problem Q dot is 0 and nothing is mentioned in the problem regarding the value of Z1 and Z2. That means, what are Z1 and Z2? That is the height of the inlet from the ground and height of outlet from the ground. Nothing is mentioned. When nothing is mentioned, we can assume it to be a horizontal blower. That means Z1 is equal to Z2. So Z1 is equal to Z2. And if this is true, if this is taken, then this equation becomes H1 dot plus M dot B1 square by 2. Then this is 0, this is 0. So this is equal to H2 dot plus M dot B2 square by 2 plus W dot. You already know the value of W. W is minus 15, but don't write minus sign here. Let it be plus only. At the final step when we will be substituting the numerical value for the terms, there only will write minus 15, not here. So our equation now becomes M dot H1 plus M dot V1 square by 2 is equal to M dot H2 plus M dot B2 square by 2 plus capital W dot. Now what we are interested in? We are interested in T2. So T2 will be H1 minus H2, from the T2 term will come. So we can write M dot H1 minus H2 is equal to M dot B2 square minus B1 square by 2. This will come here and this will go there, plus W dot. See here also, in this step also, I have not put the value of the numerical value of the terms. I have kept them with the notations only, with the notations. That means I have not written B2, in place of B2 I have not written 150. In place of B1 I have not written 100, or in place of W dot I have not written 15. So I have kept it like this. Now this can be written as M dot Cp. What is Cp? Specific heat at constant pressure. And Cp for which fluid? It is the fluid flowing here is air. So it is Cp for air. Cp and Cp into T1 minus T2, out of which we know the value of M dot. Cp for air is known to us, T1 is known to us, T2 is to be found out, is equal to M dot B2 square minus B1 square by 2 plus W dot. In the next step we can write, now we are coming to the units. This is the most important. Now you see, M dot is in kg per second. Unit of Cp is, M dot is in kg per second. Cp is in kilojoules per kg K, and temperature difference is in K. So what you get? You get kilojoules per second. For this term, the unit is kilojoules per second or kilowatt. This is already in kilowatt. What about this one? This one, if you take this half mv square, so it is kg meter square per second square, which is equal to joules per second, not kilojoules per second. So in order to make it kilojoules per second, you have to divide 1000 here, then only this will be kilojoules per second, this will be kilojoules per second, this will be kilojoules per second. Now as far as the units are concerned, all the three terms in this equation do have the same unit, so now you can write 1 for m dot, 1.005, 1.005 is the Cp for air. This you have to remember. This information will not be given to you as a student of thermodynamics. Like density of water you are supposed to know, like the specific heat of water you are supposed to know. You are also supposed to know the specific heat of air at constant pressure, that is 1.005. Okay, what is specific heat of air at constant volume? That is 0.718 kilojoules per kg. So that you have to remember. So in course of time, this thing you'll be memorizing this thing, and it's not a problem. It will not be a problem. It should not be a problem for you. T1 minus T1 is 20 minus T2 is equal to 1 into 150 square minus 100 square divided by 2000 plus what you are going to write? W dot. So W dot is how much? You are replacing W dot by a number. What is that number and what should be its unit? The number is 15, the sign is minus, and unit is kilowatt. So already everything is in kilowatt. So here you will write minus 15. So do not write minus here. Let it be plus. When you are replacing W dot, there you write minus 15. So what you get? So you are getting a equation 1 into 1.005 into 20 minus T2 is equal to 1 into 150 square minus 100 square by 2000. This 2 becomes 2000 because you are converting it from originally from joules per second to kilojoules per second plus minus 15. That means it is minus 15. So in this equation, the only unknown is T. So you can find out just by arithmetic exercise. You can find out T2 is this many degree centigrade. At no point of time you need to convert it to Kelvin, because as long as it is a temperature difference, as long as the term is a temperature difference, whether you express it in degree centigrade or in Kelvin, both the value will be same. For example, say 373 degree centigrade minus 273 degree centigrade. How much? 373 degree centigrade minus 273 degree centigrade is 100 degree centigrade. If you convert them to Kelvin, then 373 plus 273, 273 plus 273, that take the difference. Then also you get 100. So in the difference also you will be getting in Kelvin, and the in degree centigrade also you will be getting the same value. So this is how you have to solve the numerical problem. So there are 3-4 things you need to remember. First, identify the device. What is the device? Blower. You must know what is the function of a blower. And as a mechanical engineering student at this stage, you simply remember that blower is a machine which consumes work and creates a pressure differential so that a fluid is allowed to pass or allowed to move in a particular passage. So if I want to make this fluid go in a particular direction, then I have to create a pressure differential at 2 points of this passage. That is what a blower does. Okay. Second thing is that assuming adiabatic conditions means what? Assuming adiabatic condition means Q is 0. There is no heat transfer from the surrounding to the blower or blower to the surroundings. Alright. Then what else? It consumes 15 kilowatt. That means consumes means W dot or power is minus 15. It delivers means plus 15. It gives means plus 15. But it consumes 15 kilowatt. That means it will be, its value will be minus 15. So minus 15. Third thing is that every point, every term in this equation should have the same unit, and we checked that this is in kilojoules per second, this one is kilojoules per second, so this has to be in kilojoules per second, but incidentally this is in joules per second, so we divided it by 2000. If you could have also done it otherwise, like this is kilojoules per second, so make it joules per second by multiplying 1000, make it joules per second by multiplying 1000 and keep it as it is, then also वो भी चलेगा, क्योंकि सारा जो इक्वेशन में सारे जो टर्म्स हैं, every term should have the same unit, that is the bottom line. Clear? So this is how you arrive at the last result. I am not giving you the result because all these things are simply your calculation exercises. Okay, so there you get this. So first step is draw the schematic diagram. While you draw the schematic diagram, you must indicate the locations at inlet and locations at outlet, and then you must indicate the flow of the direction of flow, and then make a list of all information that are given to you, and then only you go to the actual solution of the problem, actually solving the problem. Okay, so this is something you need to remember. In the next class we will be solving one more problem. I'll discuss one more problem in a detailed manner like this one, and then I will give you an assignment on steady flow energy equation or first law of thermodynamics applied to flow processes. Okay, so like we have applied this to blower, the same phenomenon or same concept or same equation can be applied to the activities taking place inside a turbine, activities taking place inside a condenser or a diffuser, or devices like a nozzle or a refrigerator or an evaporator. So gradually 2-3 devices at least we will make ourselves acquainted with, so that you will come to know what is a blower, what is a diffuser, what is a nozzle, etc. Okay, what is a compressor. So this much for today. Thank you.